Kimmy, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, hello, I'm Kimmy McAllister, co-owner of Best Buddies Pet Care. We are specializing for today's purposes in puppies, anything puppy, and dogs with major insecurities. So for you guys out there, if you have questions on those matters, I'm going to be your specialist.
Alan.
So Alan here with Dog World Order. We educate clients on dog behavior and dog psychology, pretty much all over the scope, man. Young, old, skinny, fat, doesn't matter, man. We can help you guys with everything. One of our little sticking points here is that we've gotten pretty damn good over the years with being able to help a lot of behavioral cases, some of the heavier issues that aren't really fun to talk about, biting, hurting people, hurting other dogs, that kind of stuff. So again, being able to really work with the clients and being able to, again, establish a connection and for people to just be open and allowing us to teach them how to communicate with dogs, man. That's where we come in. We're just a translator, baby.
Fantastic. Well, I'm Kylie. I'm the owner of Fire Hydrant Pet Sitting and Dog Walking. We kind of do a little bit of everything. We mostly do dog walking, pet care, cat care, and whatever Kimmy or Alan suggest, we make sure to implement it. So if they teach your pet certain commands, we'll make sure that after the training that it's maintained long term. And so if you guys are referred by them, we'll make sure that that your pup will be ready to go. And we kind of service everywhere. So wherever you are,
yeah,
to you.
Yeah, more than likely they can help you guys wherever you're at.
We have a great team. Our team has met with, they will be meeting with Kimmy. They've met with Alan, and they soak up what they say like a sponge. They absolutely love it. Fantastic. And so a few disclaimers we've already kind of mentioned a little bit is that we are not vets. A lot of this is through our experience. We've been around, we don't know everything, but we're going to do the best we can. If not, we definitely know somebody who could possibly help you. And if you guys have any questions, there's a Q&A section. Also in the chat, make sure you have, panelists and attendees so we can all see your questions and whatever you guys have, because we're here for you guys. Awesome. So you ready? Okay.
Ready?
Okay, so one of the questions we got from you guys was, is it best to stick with one style of training/trainer? And the answer is yes. It is very important to stay consistent with the same person. Like Kimmy mentioned earlier, it's, if one trainer doesn't work out, of course you can assess that and find somebody, but consistency is the biggest thing with that.
So I like to add on to that because we agree, you need to be consistent with your training. It absolutely has to be clear to the dog what you're doing, and you have to give the method a chance to work in trying all of the parts of the method. Sometimes we find people try one thing that maybe they like or is fun for them, but they leave out some of the more difficult tasks or less fun tasks. And as Alan will mention, it's like a diet plan. You can't do one of the parts. You got to do the exercise and the diet for the whole picture to come around. Now, with that said, after you've tried to be consistent, now, I will learn from many different kinds of trainers to get better at certain things, what I call filling in the gaps. And I would definitely recommend, after you've done a training program, seek out other kinds of training to fill in the gaps.
Absolutely. And then
this you can't eat the chicken without eating the veggies, on the diet. You can't just go, I'm just gonna eat the salmon, but I'm gonna leave the veggies. Doesn't quite work, guys.
Exactly.
Yes.
And this person who asked this question, it was loaded. And so we appreciate the detail and how you are ready for it. This person also asked, when do you start to wean away from treats in the training process? Kimmy, what is your thoughts on treats?
Well, I am all about treats. Okay, so treats are a huge way to make fast progress. So we use treats in our training, puppies especially. You want to use positive reinforcement, which we will define. Yes. It is reinforcing. You want to increase the likelihood of a behavior occurring again. So you're going to reinforce it, and positively. So we use anything that the dog values. So it could be praise, it can be a treat, it can be a toy, it can be play. Sometimes it's freedom. So we use treats because it's easy and it's fast and it's effective, but we can use many things other than treats with how to wean them off. So once you get a reliable behavior, for example, a sit, because it's an easy one. You want your dog to sit. As soon as they put their butt on the ground, you mark yes, and you give them their reward. 9 times out of 10, their butt hits the ground. You're going to start weaning off that treat. So what you're doing is saying, okay, now that I have a behavior that I can depend on a little bit, I'm going to see if I can have the dog learn that it's not going to expect food. It's going to hope for it. It's going to work for it. So maybe I'm only going to treat the dog when they sit really fast. I say sit and their butt hits the ground really fast. Ooh, treat reward. You worked really hard for that. I'm going to reward that with a super high value reward like a treat. But say they take their time and they settle in, I'm still going to go, oh, what a good boy. But I'm not going to give them that high value reward. So then they start to go, oh, maybe I should work a little harder or a little faster. And then it becomes a game, hope versus expectation, and work ethic is built.
Absolutely. And Alan, what are the main ways to give positive reinforcement?
So there's a couple different things here. First, we gotta talk about what is a reward, right? What like Kim was saying, what constitutes a reward? And we like to think it comes down to about 5 basic things. It's either verbal praise, physical touch, it could be toys, it could be treats, it could be also access, right? Like Kim was saying, it's freedom. Now you can go outside, or now you can come on in. Now you can get on my lap, whatever, right? So, because some dogs, their jerky, their version of jerky, their Achilles heel is belly rubs or ear rubs or chest rubs. So, paying the dog with whatever it really values. Some dogs you'll find aren't as treat motivated, but man, they could sure go for a belly rub, and so you work with them through that, which is great. So again, whether it's treats, toys, touch, verbal praise, or access, those are some of the things that we want to make sure that we highlight. And like Kim was saying, with puppies, man, you gotta, if you can start off there, it's a great way to start a foundation.
Absolutely. And we do have a question for Kimmy. Are you ready? Yes. My dog has separation anxiety that has trust issues. When she is with me, she's normally okay. What can I do as her handler to build her confidence and help her be more secure? She needs to deal with a few hours without her emotional support human.
That is a really great question. So I have like 600 follow-up questions to that. So that would be a more in-depth conversation. But just in general, what you can do for building confidence in dogs, and if they view you as their support human, then you have to actually create a little bit of separation from the dog. So you're not going to be allowing them to be underfoot, at your side, Velcro, we call them Velcro dogs, follow you around. They can't be okay without you. Now, sticking their nose under the door when you're going to the bathroom, or worse, like mine, who I just broke this habit, holding my hands. They actually sit and try to hold my hands anytime I sit down, even in the restroom. So create some healthy boundaries, close the door, let them be in the other room, have somebody else in the family take them for a walk. So you have to start at home, and then you can build confidence going places. And there's just so many things you can do, but if this is something you really want to work on, this is probably a more in-depth private conversation or live conversation if we just want to focus on this topic alone.
We can talk about dogs all day long. I'm sorry I don't have such a fancy background as Kimmy and Alan. I tried to try it out, but then it started coming through my face.
The teeth are so white that it just blended in with everything else.
It thought it was something else. But yes, we tried. But yes, so the next question we have is, can I train my dog to bring me wine? That would be the dream.
That's my goal.
See, we started off with the important ones first, I see. Yeah.
Right.
We should have started off there.
Yeah.
Do you want a trainer answer?
Yeah. Put your
Yes,
trainer
you
cap
can.
on,
Yeah.
answer it. Yes. Yeah.
So we as trainers, and if you've ever taken a class from us, are always talking about mental stimulation. We want to give our dogs jobs to do or puzzles to solve, things to learn, ways to use their brain to drain some mental energy and create mental stimulation. And what a better way than to teach them how to open a refrigerator door and grab the beverage of your choice and bring it to you. It incorporates so many different skills. And I think the answer would be yes.
You can.
Think of service dogs and how they open doors and all that. It can easily be done rather than just a bedroom door or a front door. It can be a fridge door. So again, those are some things that you guys can work on inside the home. We talk about exercising your dog and all that. Working your dog out mentally. Those are mental miles being put in. That at the end of the day, your dog will be more fulfilled because you are giving it that level of balance. So yeah. Yes, I guess you could say in a very weird way. Yes, I guess you can. I mean, it doesn't have to be wine. It could be
They don't drink it.
soda or ginger ale. I don't know, whatever your drink of choice may be. Doesn't have to be alcoholic. I don't drink, so it would definitely be a ginger ale.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that'd be amazing. So one of the questions, a couple of the questions, they were repeated quite a bit, and one of the big ones was barking. So how do you stop a dog from barking, or how can you maintain it?
Alan.
I wanted to be respectful and not go first and just jump right on in. So a couple of questions that when we're working with our clients privately and we throw it in there, whether it be in the beginning or the middle, we say, hey, we're gonna leave you guys with 2 questions before we leave today. And one of the questions is going to be simply, what state of mind am I rewarding my dog in? And that is super important to figure out, because you're not realizing sometimes what you're in essence training your dog to do. If you allow your dog to bark and you're having a conversation and then I go, what's up, buddy? What do you need? Right? So you're still paying the dog with one of the forms of rewards that we talked about earlier, attention. So it starts realizing that, hey, it's the version of mom, and then I still pay it with attention. Now, one thing to keep in mind, you guys, whether you're going, shut the hell up, I'm talking, or whether you're going, what do you need? The dog does not care. At that point, you paid it with attention, whether it be negative or positive, you still gave it a lot of energy in that direction. So for the dog's chalking it up and going, well, kind of worked. I'll chalk that up as a W. So it may go back to that. So really focusing on the state of mind of the dog, working on the impulse control of that, and making sure that you can teach it patience by you outlasting the dog, waiting the dog out, give it substitutes, those kinds of things. So definitely the yelling at it doesn't work.
Well, and it doesn't work. Yeah. Sorry, Kaya, you go.
Sorry. You mentioned, keeping your dog stimulated. What do you mean by brain stimulation and making sure that they, how are they bored?
Yes. Okay. So dogs, oh boy, they have so much energy in their bodies and their brains. They're built to work. Some dogs that we bring into our urban homes are built to work 12 hours a day, physically and mentally. And then we take them for, our 20-minute walk and we're like, all right, you're good. And so they're not. They have a lot more energy to burn. And that comes
That's it? What do you mean that's it?
Yeah. It comes out in different ways. Barking is the most common form of excess energy. So to drain the mental energy, we come up with fun games. It's actually training, but we cheat and tell our clients it's games, and then they want to do it.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
We have them play
Word
games.
association, right? Word association. Yeah. So definitely doing that. Again, think about it. Depending on the breed that you have, that 30-minute walk to some breeds, especially these high energy ones, it's like the warm up to the warm up before the exercise. And so you're like, yeah, I did 30 minutes, and the dog's going, all right, I'm ready to work out now.
Yep.
What are we doing? And then you put me away, and that's it.
We
so
got questions
again,
on that. We got questions about how long should the walk be? How frequent should you walk the dog? And it's just like Alan said, it's like, yeah, you could do 20 minutes, but it really does depend a lot on the breed.
Breed specific, yeah.
Exactly. And like you mentioned earlier, like Huskies, miniature Australian Shepherds, you know, it depends.
These high working dogs, yeah. Belgian Malinois does not want to couch potato it up with you. It wants to do something, right? Your Aussies are gonna want to do something. They're not gonna be okay. And again, what are some signs that your dog may be struggling with that pinned up energy? Kenny brought it up, the barking and all that. It could go into excessive chewing on the outside furniture, the patio furniture, the digging. Digging is a super common one, right? The dog's telling you, I'm bored back here. And again, we tell clients all the time, because we've gotten used to hearing it over the years. Oh, well, it has a big backyard. The dog does not give a damn about that backyard. It's the same backyard that it's seen day in and day out. If you're not going to add stimulation into that and also work it outside the home, you're not going to get the desired results from your dog, and your dog is going to be frustrated. And so will you.
Yep. Even on our dog walks with the dogs that we do care for on a daily basis, we make sure it's like, we'll try to change up the route or something. And even after it rains, it's like the dogs know, it's like, ooh, there's something new here. And they just want to sniff it, because it's like, you know, enhancing their brain.
New, yeah.
Like
what is this?
Spark. Excellent. Okay. And then how about teaching our dogs patience? How can we go about that?
All right. So that is what we do. The School of Patience is what we should have named our daycare and training facility, because everything we do there is all about finding patience. We don't let the dogs in the door until they're sitting and looking up at us. We open the door completely before we allow the dog in on our command to say, okay, and release them in. And then we have about 5 gates to walk through before they're actually in the playroom. So they have to do this at each step of the way. So what we're doing there is slowing their brain down, letting their body catch up, because their body isn't ready for that quite yet. And we wait until we see calm before we give them the reward of freedom, play, food, anything. So teaching patience takes patience. And that's one of the things that I see missing in most people's lives. And we're in a fast-paced society. And now with COVID and families doing Zoom school and Zoom on work and this and that, nobody has time for that. So we give you fun drills to practice patience. We call it our say please policy. And they have to say please before they get anything they want. So we have you work it into your daily life, and it's not quite as big of a chore that way.
I love it.
Alan, how do you go about teaching patience?
So again, a lot of it, like you said, is outlasting the dog, you exercising patience, and then understanding that if you need it to happen at that moment, that's probably not when you should be practicing it. So we always use the analogy of practice and game time. The Super Bowl was just a month ago, right? They didn't run a play in the Super Bowl that they did not practice in practice. So when you need it, you get it, but you have to make sure that you know exactly what the play looks like, exactly what should be expected for when you need it. If you're in a time crunch, any sort of time constraint, that is a game time moment. What have you done aside of that situation, whether it's you're working on that and I got to go to work or whatever? Understand that's a game time moment. Have you practiced it any time outside of that where you're not pressed for time and you can take as long as it takes to make sure that you get the desired result? Again, what state of mind am I rewarding my dog in? Calm, relaxed, anxious, excited, hyper? What is it that I'm going for? What is my goal? So again, set yourselves up for success, man, so that you guys don't get frustrated and go, the dog doesn't get it. The dog probably does get it. You're just not delivering the right message all the time. So again, investing time in practice so that when you need it, you can get it. That's a game time moment.
Absolutely. Even with
I
us.
want to follow up, Alan. That was such what you said, set them up for success. That is something we drill into every single training program that we have. If you're not setting your dog up for success, meaning just being clear about your expectations, show them what you want, follow through with it consistently, help them when they're having trouble, and we can teach you how to help them. That's what we learn to do. Mm-hmm. But all of those factors, figure out what makes things more difficult for your dog. Is it more difficult for them to sit at the door when they know they're going on a walk because they're excited? Maybe they'll sit at the door, no problem, when the leash isn't on them, but when the leash is on them, they can't handle it. So those are the ways you need to identify the triggers, what makes them distracted, what makes it more difficult to seek calm, to seek patience, and then help them with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that goes back more on our first question.
Mic drop.
Too. Good job. It goes back to our first question too about, you know, is it like best to stick to one training style or one trainer? It's all about that consistency and making sure that it's all together, full circle. Fantastic. Okay, wonderful. And so we do have another question, and it is it okay for my dog to sleep in the bed with us? We both have anxiety, but I don't want to make her anxiety worse by sleeping next to me. You would like to?
So the precursor to that would be, we have a bunch of questions before answering that, but right, Kimmy? But I would say, what, you know, have you observed signs of your dog being anxious, that kind of stuff? Is it just something that you're worried about that you haven't seen yet, or you have seen it? Have you established boundaries in that setting, in that bedroom? How is your dog when you leave the room? Are you able to leave the room without the dog going, hey, where are you going? I need to be in there. You gotta use the restroom. Can I be in there? No, you can't. So again, what are you saying with your dog in general? Because your dog may be okay sleeping on the bed, honestly, if you're not noticing any of those things. But sometimes what can happen is you get into a codependency. Now, we all have significant others here in the panel, and it would be weird if Kimmy could not leave for work, if hubby was like, honey, I love you, you can't leave. That, first of all, it'd be crazy, all right? But that's not gonna set us up for long-term success here within that relationship. I gotta go to a console. I can't have my wife telling me, honey, you can't leave. I can't live without you. That's an unhealthy and unbalanced relationship. So I would say really reassess and look at what your relationship is with your dog, removed of just affection, and see what they're really giving you before you even implement it.
Yeah.
Follow up?
I would say that.
Oh! I want to do that every time she says something. I would just go, there you go, boom, there it is.
We're socially distancing.
That's gonna be, I concur. Yes.
Wonderful. And so I think this question's definitely going to be more in Alan's expertise field. It's how to be consistent with reactivity on walks.
So let's go back to what I was saying earlier about practice and game time. If you're experiencing a lot of reactivity on the walk, then honestly, you shouldn't be going out on a walk. And what I mean by that is you shouldn't be focused on destination. Destination doesn't matter at that point. You should be focusing on whatever triggers may be right outside your home. If you're going to go to a park, let's say you drive there and you work proximities, get used to the dog and those constant visuals that you wanted to get used to. Again, and then you can start working your way in as you start seeing comfort level go up and anxiety level or stress levels go down. Also, what does it look like when your dog is stressing out? Because a lot of us know our dog, but we know our dog and we know what the dog likes. We don't really know the cues that our dog is going through something. So like some of us are nervous and we do this, right? We start tugging on our ear, or us guys, I'll find myself doing this a lot. You know, you might see a teenage girl, you know, just going to town on her hair or whatever, right? So what does it look like when your dog is processing energy, and energy in the form of stress, anxiety, fear, nervousness, confusion, whatever that may, excitement, whatever that may be? Really get to know your dog on a different level. Again, learn to speak the language so you guys can communicate better. That would be the first step for us to be able to really get to start honing in on that. The foundation has to be solid before I just throw you in there in the deep end of the pool and expect you to be successful. So I need to learn my dog first, really figure out what those thresholds are with my dog, what the trigger points are, and then start investing time on just working that, not going, I'm just gonna walk through this, and then the dog's stressed the whole time, and the dog ends up realizing every time we go on a walk, it's stressful, it's a pain in the butt, I don't enjoy it, and so that becomes the state of mind the dog goes in before you even left the house, guys. So pay attention to that kind of stuff.
Anything you'd like to add, Kimmy?
Yes, there's a thing called the layered stress model. So humans and dogs, everybody has it. We layer on stress from different things throughout the day, whether it's, Zoom stuff, kids in school, diet changes, you didn't sleep well, you just feel funky that day, whatever it may be. We all have a certain level of stress layered on every day. And it's that last straw mentality, that last little piece that gets thrown on top, and then yes, there's your eruption. So when you take a dog out on a walk that already isn't handling stress well, and then sees that thing that just, there it is, it's explosion every time. So it's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing and expecting a different result, to put them in that situation over and over and then expect them to get better. So what Alan was saying is, don't do that. Take them to a park, take them to a different environment. And he used the word proximity. So what he meant by that is get far away from the trigger and figure out how far away you need to be for your dog to be able to handle seeing whatever it is that they normally blow up on. It might be 100 yards. You might be on a football field away from a dog, and that's where your dog needs to start working. And
that's where you start. Yep, that's where you start.
10 yards closer and 10 yards closer, maybe 10 yards back after that. But you work at your dog's level, and you only bridge the gap as they can handle it.
Fantastic. Boom. Very
That's
good.
the thing. That just became a thing now. That's the thing. Every time we're going to do this from this point going forward.
We're just doing that every time.
That's going to be, yeah, because we're going to do more of these in the future. And that's going to be a thing. So you guys are in the first one. You guys have to see how.
People can join us with the fist bumps if they could do it.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, if you guys can, I don't know, but if you can join in on that.
Yeah, do the fist bump. Yeah.
I did want to add to one of our questions that was asked earlier, because it was asked like 3 or 4 times. So barking, like we didn't address that there's many different kinds of barking. There's the protection bark. So it's, I'm barking because someone's outside my house or at my door. They're protecting their family. That is something that's built into the dog, but we want to make it be a reasonable amount of that. So we do things like say, okay, thank you, or okay, all done. And we want the dog to know, we heard you. Thank you for your warning, whatever it is that you feel you need to do. And now we're all done with that.
Shut up.
What we do in that case, because they're not seeking our attention in that case, they are seeking protection. So we need to interrupt the behavior after, when we're done with it, redirect the attention to something else, and then reward the next state of mind that we're looking for so that they can go into that pattern. Bark, look at my human, chill. And that's what I do with my dogs. Okay, thank you. And if it's a huge trigger, then I have to go over there and I have to help them. And that might be in the case of like, I'll have a piece of food in my hand. I use string cheese a lot. I just put the food in front of their nose and I lure them away from the trigger into a sit or a down. In my case, it's a go to your spots. They have their mats. And as soon as I do that, they're calm. They just needed me to interrupt the behavior, tell them what I wanted, and then they're okay.
And if I could just add one little thing to that, because that's kick ass. That's exactly what you want to do in that situation. A lot of folks get frustrated because they go, my dog doesn't listen to me, or he's willfully disobeying. The odds of your dog willfully disobeying are very slim. If Polly's not understanding exactly what you want and you're not communicating effectively to finish that up, it's a lot of the times when your dog's doing something bad, your dog's just telling you, I suck at this. I suck at this. I'm bad at this. Like that dog that barks at me, I'm not ready to be that close to a dog that barks at me and for me to not do something, whatever. I suck when the doorbell rings. I get tricked. So whenever your dog's being bad, and we say that to people all the time, we go, oh, my dog's bad, or my dog doesn't listen, or whatever. Your dog's just not very good at something. I can't knock my son for not being good at math, and he comes to me for help, and then I get mad at him that he's not doing a good job on math. How am I going to help him if I'm adding my emotions to that situation? I'm not going to be of any help. And what is the long-term effect of that? He's less likely to want to come to me over time. So there becomes a barrier in the relationship over time because I am not doing my part to really assist that process. So again, keeping your emotions in check is so important in that aspect. And like I said, please keep in mind, if I slur through all that, just keep in mind, if my dog is being bad at something, my dog sucks at something, help it.
Help it.
Boom, boom, boom. Fantastic. fantastic.
We got a bunch in here. We got a bunch of mic drops in here.
Yes, and then people are doing the bumps in the chat.
Fire. I saw that. Yeah, I saw a couple in there. Yeah, I saw it.
You know, another one of the big issues too that does range tremendously is we kept getting asked about biting too.
Yes.
It is such a range depending on breed, behavior, what people consider a bite. What do you have to say about that, Kimmy?
Oh yeah, so if we're talking puppy biting, then I have a whole bunch of handouts for you. So puppy biting is normal. It's biological. They have to do it. Their teeth, their body tells them do this. They must strengthen their jaw. They must practice all of these things that are survival techniques. So we have to let our puppies bite, but we need to teach them what is appropriate to bite.
What is okay? Yeah.
What is appropriate?
My hands, your ankles,
arms,
toes,
your face, yeah, your body, your clothes, that's not appropriate. So the answer should just be, that's not happening. And the way you do that needs to be clear to the dog. So you can choose what's comfortable for you. You don't have to be mean and scary and yell at them, but they do need to have very clear boundaries. When I am working with puppies in training sessions, if they start biting on me, I'm going to give them an appropriate item, an alternative. If they don't take the alternative, for example, a chew toy, a fluffy toy, a rope toy, a tug toy, anything that is meant for them to bite on, if they won't take the alternative and they bite me again, I'm going to put them away. I'm going to put them in their confinement area or in their crate. And I'm going to wait till they calm down. I'll give them a chance to come back after they calm down. This could be anywhere from like 2 minutes to 5 minutes. They get another chance. They start biting me again. I'm going to give them the alternative. If they keep choosing me over the correct options, they get another timeout. So I have the 3 strikes you're out policy now. If I've had to put them away twice and on the 3rd time they don't choose the right option, they go away for a longer period of time, which brings up timeouts. Puppy biting and timeouts go hand in hand because they can't always control what they're doing and they need to be away from it if they can't make good choices.
And what about
think of a
when they get
kid.
older, Alan? Like when they are older dogs, how is the best way to handle biting?
So again, if we're talking real serious bites, depending on the again severity, level 1, level 2, level 3 bites, again, there's a whole spiel that we can go into that. But if a dog is biting, breaking skin, there's when we worked in animal control, there was called a BHS, bite, hold, shake. That's a more dangerous level bite there because the dog is biting, holding, and shaking. That could cause ligament damage, that kind of stuff. A lot of the times what we notice is it's a lot of warning bites. It may be a snap just to get you to go away, let's say. It may be at another dog. Now, every now and then you might deal with some situations where a dog may be targeting another dog, that kind of stuff. So, but I would say really look at our word association there, and because you don't want to be sharing with your family, but, oh yeah, he likes to bite. Well, he likes to nip or he likes to nibble. That's different than you telling someone, oh, he likes to bite, because then I'm not going to want to come over with my kids if you're saying that. When in reality, you just mean he's a puppy and he's kind of working through it, and maybe he's behind the ball a little bit. So, but if you say that again, how is it going to be received on the other end? So I would say, again, assessing the situation, seeing the level of bites that you're getting, if it truly is a bite, if it's breaking skin, not breaking skin, did it even leave a bruise, that kind of stuff, because there's so many different things that you want to look at as far as behavior, thresholds, all that. Yeah, settings.
And so
There's some really great, oh, go ahead, Kylie.
So there is some questions on this, especially with the timeouts and things. So doesn't that make the crate punishment place, like the dog doesn't enjoy it?
That is a great question. So how you put them in matters. If you've already made it a positive place, you can put them in calmly, do your normal routine, you set them in, leave them alone. It doesn't need to be a punishment. Now, if you're throwing them in and going, bad dog, that is now a punishment. It's how they perceive it. And a lot of puppies that are getting used to their crate in general don't love it yet. So it's kind of a not happy place in the beginning anyway. So you're in that middle zone of you're just getting them used to it. And this is just another time they get to be in it. So you're just giving them a timeout, neutral energy, put them away, don't make it negative. and then it's not deemed in their mind a punishment. It's just a timeout. We can call
Where
it.
do a lot of clients? Oh, good. Where do a lot of clients mess up at is that they try to scold the dog like you're scolding a kid. Hey, you know you weren't supposed to do that. Go to your room, and they're talking like, just shut up and put the dog in. Just shut up and put the dog in. Put the dog on a leash and just put the freaking dog in. It's as simple as that. You don't need to give it this whole venting session, because if we really want to be honest with ourselves, it's allowing you that emotional release to have, and by you addressing it verbally, it makes you feel like you did something about it. And when in reality, the dog didn't learn much from your words, it's the action. And so can you challenge yourself to remove emotion out of the equation? And let's say you're about to pop off. Give yourself the benefit of at least 2-3 seconds to go, come on, Rocky. Get your ass inside the crate. Come on, bud. Get inside. There you go. Good boy. So you don't explode and do all that on your dog, right? A lot of it is the energy. If you go in there, like Kim was saying, if you just throw a dog in there and you give it this, you tear it a new one verbally, it's more for you. It's the venting session for you, and the dog doesn't learn anything. So again, it's going back to energy, behavior, psychology, all that good stuff. Yeah.
Full circle. And so with biting, why is it that they may not bite the adults, but what if they are biting the kid?
Yes, that is a great question. I'm seeing Ethan's post. Thank you for that. So that is typical. Kids don't create boundaries towards dogs like adults usually do. And the puppy starts to see the kid as a playmate, as more like their equal. And they need help. The kids, depending on their age, really need help with this because they don't know how to create the boundary. So you have to step in and create the boundary for them and teach the dog that this child is off limits for doing those things, which takes a lot of consistency. If the kid's going to be allowed to play with the puppy, then there needs to be supervision so that somebody can step in and tell the puppy when enough is enough, and whether they're escalating in their behavior beyond a point that's acceptable. I see this all the time with kids that like to play rough with the puppies too. So the puppy goes, cool, this is okay. And it is okay at times, but there has to be a limit and a boundary. And when we say we're all done, we're all done. And if you don't stop, then you get to go have a little break or a timeout.
Yep. Exactly. Any other questions on bite? Oh, sorry, go ahead, Alan.
Making sure that you guys, when it comes to kids, we have young kids. Again, my kids range from 7.5, 6 to 2.5. Making sure that you guys add a force field, if you will, around your dog, and making sure that you also add a force field around your kid, because your kid's not gonna, it's like the whole impulse control that we were talking about. If you put candy in front of a kid, they're gonna eat it till they throw up. There's no impulse control there. Okay, so if you keep letting me have access to the kid, and all our relationship, our foundation is just rooted in play, then yes, like Kimmy said, I will just see you as a playmate. And if you allow the little human to pull on my tail to do all that, then I'm gonna think it's okay for me to do the same thing and latch on to the child as well. So making sure that you guys can educate the child at the same time through boundaries, the same way you would educate the dog. And again, you monitoring that, there should be no reason why your dog, your puppy, and your child, your small child, should be left alone. That's on us. We need to make sure that we're diligent about what we're doing, and again, investing time in setting that up for the sake of practice, so that you can get it right. A lot of people mess that up. They don't add a boundary around the kid, and the kid just sees the dog as a toy instead of a living, breathing creature. And again, that's when we get the calls, unfortunately. So yeah, definitely be proactive instead of reactive.
Any other questions on biting and barking? Because we got a ton of questions on those, and it's a really big topic. So if you guys have anything specific about that, please let us know. Be happy.
And I want to add on a tip for Ethan and anybody else who has children. I teach the be a tree to the kids. If the dog is jumping at them and biting at them and they want it to stop, I say, okay, be a tree. And they have to stand really still and put their arms, they cross their arms on their chest, and they become still as a tree trunk. And then they're way less exciting to the dog.
Yep.
So the part that they have trouble with the beginning of this is the dog doesn't know this yet. So in the very, very beginning, the dog's still nipping at them, and now they're still as a tree getting nipped. And they're going, what is going on? This isn't working. So the parent needs to be there to help. When the kid goes still as a tree, the parent has to come in and tell the dog, and we're done. And then enforce timeout if needed. But oftentimes going still, decreasing movement, decreases the drive to be biting and jumping, and then the dog will calm down naturally.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Very good. Awesome. Okay, wonderful. So some people had questions about potty training as well, like especially people that live in apartments. What is the best way to do that if they have a patio outside and just no personal yard?
Fabulous question. Well, we have a potty diary that we have our clients fill out, and they have to track when they take the dog out, where they take the dog, how long they spend outside, was it pee, was it poop, was there an accident? So we are having you track every little last detail of your potty training efforts to, number one, identify what the pattern is, if there is one in pottying, where you're accidentally missing out on human error opportunities. Oops, forgot to take the dog out in that hour, and oopsie, they had a pee-pee accident. For apartments, because they're really tough, getting a dog down a flight of stairs before they go potty is tough. So I recommend a fake grass setup. They have ones that are just like a 3x3 square elevated.
With
a tray under, exactly. And you can just clean, you can pour water on it. You can pour I think they have a cleaning solution that comes with it. And you just pull out a tiny little tray at the bottom and dump that and clean that. It's perfect for apartments. You can use potty training pads if you don't mind that. But if you want to go that extra mile for your pet, do the fake grass, and then see if they have a preference for surfaces. A lot of dogs do have surface preference for where they potty. They prefer rugs. They prefer absorbent materials. So they're going to choose your rug over their potty pad if they could choose absorbency. So maybe get them something, if they're constantly going to the rug, try the grass mat because it is more absorbent and it's taller. And then troubleshoot from there, making sure you're taking them out frequently enough, tracking when they're drinking water versus when they're going potty, tracking when they're eating versus going potty. Is it a right away dog? Do they eat and go poop? Do they have to eat, wait their 20 minutes and then go potty? So every dog has a pattern. You just got to find it.
Anything to add, Alan?
So again, practicing game time, right? Practicing game time, making sure that you're not trying to do all this and practice, if you will, when you got to go and it's in the morning and it's work time and I got to be out of the house. I'm already 5 minutes late. Again, set some time aside, share the load with other members in your family that can help you so you guys can track it. Again, if you can control the feeds, you can control the bowel movements. No free time, post eating if you haven't had bowel movements, that kind of stuff. So again, proofing, making sure that you guys are doing your part to set the dog up for success. One of the big things that we notice is that like, oh, I didn't go, so I came back in. Well, no, you gotta stay out there a little bit longer. So make sure that you don't let the dog choose that carpet while you're over there trying to change it and all that. So again, practicing game time, guys.
Oh, great point, Alan, you brought up, I didn't mention earlier, is you don't just take the dog out and then let them free in the house if they haven't gone potty. If they didn't go potty, you put them back in their confinement area and then try again maybe 10 or 15 minutes later until they've successfully pottied outside. Then they can have some monitored free time. So they're not free. They're either on a leash or in a small area that you're watching carefully for signs of their next potty, which could be who knows when, because stimulation, they move, they get stimulated, they sniff, they get stimulated. They're puppies, they pee and poop all the time. So you just have to watch their bodies and confine them more than you think you have to. I think a lot of the problems are dogs get freedom way too early. They haven't proven that they're potty trained. They haven't proven that they're house trained, that they won't chew, that they won't find things. So we really do need to focus on having a safe confinement space when we're not eagle eyes on them or having them attached to us by a leash that they won't chew off. So
yeah, a lot of people will tell you getting the house. Oh, I want to get to know the house. It's home and I wanted to know where it lives at and all that. Well, you got to have the puppy, earn the rooms. And the way it earns the rooms is through you being there and supervising the rooms that you're going to be exposing it to. start off with the brand new puppy or a brand new dog period, doesn't even have to be a puppy, and let it be in one spot in one room, and then gradually start exposing it to these other rooms under your supervision. You cannot just assume that the dog is not going to have a potty mistake, because more often than not, you're going to be wrong with that. So having it earn the rooms to your supervision, again, setting it up to where whatever your feeding schedule may be, whether it's a puppy that you're feeding 3 times a day, you're going to have to be on it. It's on us. We're the ones that brought the puppy on. So we owe it to them to be diligent about taking them out, making sure they have those potty movements. If I have to take a shower or use the restroom, great, I'm going to crate them. I'm going to put them in their pen, and then I can come back out, and then I can supervise and all that. So making sure that you guys are monitoring that exposure as well as you go along, instead of just going, here, this is your house, and it's bound to hit a spot that you don't want it to, a rug.
And so on that consistency and on that schedule, besides potty training, how about feeding?
Well, Alan already talked about this in terms of monitor when they eat, because right after they eat, they're going to go potty pretty soon after. So for new pet parents, I see that question. Dogs usually eat 2 times a day. In most households, they can get away with eating once a day. And when they're puppies, they're usually fed 3 times a day. So puppy would be 3, a normal household, morning and evening. And then a lot of dogs just don't like to eat twice a day, so you can feed them once a day.
Absolutely.
My dogs don't like to eat twice a day. My dogs will eat once, and sometimes they eat, sometimes they don't, and they'll just have to wait till tomorrow, and then they usually make it up. Sometimes they might eat half of it, sometimes they might eat a quarter of it. I guarantee you that by the next day they're making it up. They're eating 3/4 of it, or they're eating again the other 75% or whatever. So again, really getting to know your dog again, like we talked about.
Know the schedule,
making sure that you're studying. You're late, girl. Well, yeah, what are you doing? Yeah.
I know. They'll be meowing at the door. They're not allowed in the bedroom, so they'll be meowing under the door. But yeah, and so
and then before I forget, no free feeds, guys. No free feeds. I don't recommend it. No free feeding. They'll just eat when it's hungry. Nah, no different than, I don't know how you guys were raised, but my mama said, if you don't eat right now, you ain't allowed in my kitchen after X amount of time. So absence creates desire. So if you eat now, or you don't eat till the next window, the next opportunity, and that window is limited. So again, making sure that you guys are on it.
Big one, Alan, for not creating really needy, very what's the word? I only eat if it's topped with sprinkled cheese, or I only eat those. And you know, my mother, she's amazing. She tells me this every time she watches my dogs. They won't eat unless I put ground beef in their food. And it's they're living 5-star hotel there. But I go, oh, they will. They're just waiting. They're calling you out.
They know you. Yeah, they already have her trained at that point. Yeah.
Fantastic.
And the big picture of that is the heartstrings. It pulls on the human heartstrings. It's like, my dog didn't eat this morning. What's wrong? Is it okay? Dude, it's fine. It is fine. It may not want to eat that much today. It'll probably make it up within the next 24 to 36 hours. So make sure.
Fantastic. So some other things, especially with like behavior and like, how about jumping on people? Like how to prevent jumping.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, we're going to take it way back to the very first comment.
I went over that. That was my fault. Sorry.
Patience. Dogs react to things. Dogs go for things that work. So if they jump on you and you touch them, it worked. If they get all excited and you get excited because they got excited, which is pretty easy to do, and you see your dog excited, it works. So they do things because they learned that it works. So jumping is exactly that. We have to wait until they're calm before we give them affection, if we don't want a dog that jumps on us. And that is so hard. I try to explain to my clients, if any of you are old enough to know Tiny Toons, I was Elmira from Tiny Toons Adventures, the cartoon, where she just holds every animal and I see them, I hold them, I squeeze them. So I get it. I could be a really unhealthy, obsessed animal person, but I know that that's not good for them and it's not good for me. So
Yeah.
yeah. I give my clients that have big jumpers or brand new puppies, if you want to create a successful routine without jumping, do not let your pet say hi to your guests for 10 minutes. And that's like, oh, how mean. But it's really kind.
How dare you abuse them like that, Cammie? How dare you?
And
Just throw the dog out while you're at it.
Not to pet your dog for 10 minutes, but I will do that for you because it creates the calm mindset, the state of mind Alan talks about, creates the correct state of mind. And then the dog goes, oh, I'm gonna get all of this affection. I don't need to jump all over them for it. They can handle their emotions better that way. And then you get them more attention because you want them around you rather than just throwing them in the yard or putting them back in their crate.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good. And so with that behavior, we have somebody with a loaded question. Their dog is a large breed. The behavior has changed over the year that they had it. And so they used to play with dogs and it used to be everything. And now it's like a completely different dog. The dog now, it attacks the other dog and it's just all very sassy. They went to the vet to make sure there was no health issues. And so how can we like shed some light on it? Like why the behavior changed so much?
Can I go?
Yeah.
So with that, again, there's a lot of questions that we would, precursor questions that we would want to find out before we were to give you any sort of action to take. And first and foremost, if there's another dog in the home, if it's new, if it's a puppy or just an older dog in general, did the behavior start post arrival of that secondary dog? Was this happening? Did you see signs of it pre of the dog coming into the home? And also making sure that you're fulfilling the dog. Is it getting the right level of discipline within the home? Is it getting enough mental and physical exercise? What does this socialization normally look like? Understanding also that if you are bringing a new dog into the home, are you allowing it to be around the older dog, let's say, too much that it's bugging the older dog? This new dog into the home is going, hey, are you ready to play? How about now? Can we play now? Can we play now? And so that just adds a lot of stress. It's almost like me having grandma or great grandma and great grandpa take care of my 2 and 5 and 6 year old kids. That's a large gap. That's a lot of energy to make up for. So it's gonna throw the dog off after a while. So and it's usually gonna take that long, where the dog gets tired of correcting. Maybe it's not even a confident dog enough to dish out and administer corrections. So there's a lot of things that we would want to find out first. Also getting to know the temperaments of the dogs, of the older dogs, the new incoming dog, and just seeing where do you fall in that? Are you even a voice of leadership to those dogs, or do they just see you as a form of affection? You're just couch potato time, or you're just treats to me, you're just food to me. So again, a lot of things that we would want to find out, and that would fall into getting to know the humans as well as getting a chance to assess the dog.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Anything to add, Kim?
Definitely. So this one I hear a lot, especially as dogs go from puppyhood or adolescence into adulthood. Dogs become adults between 2 and 3 years old, and they go from being that cute, fluffy puppy to that enjoys everything or that wants to play all the time and really nothing phases them, to a little that ornery teenager, but still fun. And then all of a sudden they're an adult and they're like, I think more serious thoughts about the world and I don't think everything's fun and I want to control you and stop all of that from happening around me. Mm-hmm. So as they get older, their ability to handle things decreases if it's a matter of stress threshold. Yep. If you are, I guess I would say you have to train them to be able to handle new stress thresholds as they get older. So if you're starting to see stress and they didn't have it before, identify what has changed. If it's just their edge, you guys did a great job at getting them checked out by the vet, because that would be my first thing. Is there some kind of physical issue?
Yep.
If that's not the case, then what else changed, as Alan said? And then practicing in general, dogs that don't have emotional control in general in the household, I would say My guess is every dog that at least calls me for behavior issues like this, they don't have control over their emotions. So we have to teach them how to control their emotions, calm down before they do anything, and then they handle their emotions better in the moment. So it's lots of practicing patience and calm and earning their rewards by being calm.
It's amazing how just being calm, making sure they're in the right mindset, being patient and balanced, how it really does impact the pet in so many ways. It's very, very important.
I do want to say this real quick. When it comes to the human aspect of it, is a lot of clients can be, you've probably seen it throughout the years as well, where if they're not getting their desired result, they'll start yelling, they'll start getting more forceful, they'll start getting meaner, if you will, more assertive or aggressive, and that usually ends up being a recipe for disaster, because the dog ends up realizing that it doesn't have to listen to you when you go, sit, Charlie, sit, because it knows you're going to get impatient, and in about 10 seconds you're going to go from Charlie, sit, Charlie, sit, Charlie, sit your ass down, and so all of a sudden you're yelling at the dog, and you only make me listen to the level 10 version of you. So by default, you're actually only training me to listen to that level 10 version of you, never that, hey, Charlie, sit, and you make sure that the dog listens to you at that calm, relaxed state. Whether you're happy-go-lucky and you're passive, or whether you want to be aggressive and mean, the dog's still gonna view you energy-wise as weak. And a really confident dog can sometimes test that and will push that, because it realizes that that's weakness. And again, humans are the only species that follow unstable leaders. And so when you break that down, elephants don't do it, coyotes don't do it, dolphins don't do it. We're the only ones. So what are you projecting to your dog? How does your dog see you in a lot of these situations? That's an aspect that we really want to hone in on when we're communicating, not talking, but communicating to our dog.
Absolutely.
Keep that in mind.
And so with, like, we had some questions about neutering as well. Could behavior, how can that affect neutering? Is neutering required? You know, what age should they get neutered?
Awesome question. So we talk about this a lot in the dog training and behavior world, because we see a lot of behavior issues happen because of non-neutered males or females that aren't spayed, creating the chaos because of their hormones. We know from the vet standpoint, letting them stay intact, as in not spaying them and not neutering them, up to a year to year and a half is the recommendation these days. However, if that's from a health standpoint. Now, the behavior standpoint, they start having issues around 6 months, 8 months. We see a lot of complaints, and sometimes the owners just can't handle what comes with allowing the hormones to evolve naturally. So my philosophy with every family is you need to do what's right for your family. If you can wait it out, great. And if not, you just make it as far as you can, and then make the call that balances the risk reward.
Yeah. And would you say it had much to do about lifespan of the pet?
That is
anything, but
it also varies by breed. You know, it also varies by breed as well. Making sure that you're doing your homework with all that. I think, I forget what university did a study on, like, German Shepherds, and they realized that waiting off till the year mark at least was more beneficial for them health-wise, as far as hip dysplasia at a later age, that kind of stuff. So, but again, we've had clients where we're dealing with bulldogs and they still got their balls and they're getting into it with each other. At that point, for the safety and safety of your home, you got to make that call. You got to make sure that they get rid of it. And if there's any fellas in this group, we all know what it looks like when testosterone starts kicking in. We're bound to do some dumb shit. So if that is the case, get rid of it. Make sure that you can get that peace and tranquility back in your home. And like he was saying, make that individual call for your specific situation.
Yeah. And if you're going to socialize your dog, we see this at daycare all the time. The dog that is unneutered becomes the target. So they might be the sweetest thing in the world, but the other dogs are bullying this dog because he's not neutered. He's not doing anything wrong. His hormones just tell the other dogs to control him. So we don't actually allow dogs at the daycare or the training center to come that are not neutered. And it is over a year in our policy, but we've actually started cutting it off at 8 months because we're seeing more. And all the issues that are happening are from the unneutered puppies. And they're the ones getting hurt because the other dog is telling them that something's wrong with them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for our weekly pack walks and all that, now we can start working with you individually and start working with the dog and, you know, teaching how to walk and all that, how to follow human, leash conditioning, leash training, and all that good stuff. But we won't start acclimating it into a pack or even start the introductions unless the big fella or the gal have their surgery to get fixed and all that, because we don't want to run into males competing over a female in heat, or just two dudes that still got them, you know, because you see it, you see it happen at dog parks. You see people take their unfixed, unspayed, and unneutered pets, and then sometimes it's even the females that are frustrated because they're ready to mate, and they will start an issue as well. The males, for jockeying, for positioning, that kind of stuff, status. So yeah, I eliminate all that and make sure your dog just gets fixed, man. It's the best thing you can do for your dog, man. So just take that route. Again, play it safe.
So you mentioned leash training and conditioning. We did have a question on that as well. And one of the things I would comment on leash training and conditioning is to get your dog familiar with the leash. So if you're using a harness or a collar, whatever it is, make sure, you know, they sniff it out, you know, have it like kind of toss it on them. See, it's touching you, and make sure to give them that positive reinforcement by giving them belly rubs and telling them good boy or good girl, giving them treats and just getting them familiar. So when you get your dog outside, they're not like, oh my gosh, what is this harness on me? And then what are we doing outside? It's just overstimulating them to where they will freak out. And we want that calmer mindset.
And then they go, why can I not go wherever I want to go all of a sudden? So then there's frustration. There's so many things.
Yeah.
We try to talk about it in terms of like riding a horse. You have to put the reins on the horse, and you have to teach them turn right, turn left, and slow down. And then you put the saddle on the horse, so you get them used to the equipment that is going to be on them before you actually take them out for a spin. Then you have all the environmental factors that they're going to encounter. So right, it's one thing at a time, and teach them left, right, and slow down. So we do that heavily in our programs, and it's interesting how counterintuitive it is in the world, because dogs are on leashes and it seems normal to a human, but it is not normal to a dog.
No, you put a puppy, you know, put a leash on a puppy and it's like, what the hell is this thing? It might as well be alive as far as they're concerned, and they're flailing, they're running around like crazy. So yeah, definitely conditioning them to the leash, but also, like I always say, practice and game time. Invest time in practicing on just you supervising the puppy, dragging that leash around while you're in the living room, and I don't know, your kids are Disney Plusing it, I don't know, whatever. But just make sure that you're desensitizing the dog to that before you even start taking it out there. You don't want to throw the dog in the deep end of the pool and expect success every time. The odds of that are going to be very, very slim. So making sure that you guys can break that down. If the dog's not choosing to chew it, obviously alternatives like we talked about before. But again, just making sure that you guys are investing the time in practice. And we always use the term in the 95. Your dog is going to spend about 95% of its life on that property that you live at. The other 5% is you going out to the park, trips, whatever. If you're not working in the 95, it's going to rear its ugly head in the other 5%. So again, reinforce practice in that 95 so you're better. Again, you got to conquer home before you go and try to conquer the world. So take that analogy there.
And it's really good too to keep it consistent. So once they do get out, it's like if you're going to do 2 15-minute walks a day or 1 30-minute walk, make sure it's consistent, change up the route, let them sniff things, you know, make sure to keep that consistent routine with them. Like the dogs will know. They'll be sitting at the door like, it's time, let's go for a walk. Come on, Mom, let's go. And so it's just very important to keep that consistency. Okay. Wonderful. So we're getting down on the questions. And so one of the big ones that we also had a couple, one of the minor ones that we had questions on was dog breath and hygiene and like what toys are good for their teeth and to chew on.
Chew toys. Okay. So I love any chew toy imaginable. I mean, I've tried them all. So Nylabones are really cool for chewing. They're not so great for the dental work. The greenie treats and all that, I've heard they help. I personally I don't see a huge difference in the pet's breath from it, but it may take off the tartar because it is a harder material they have to chew through. I use antlers. My vets say, you know, the harder the bones, it does the natural scraping. So they're brushing their teeth as they're chewing.
We love your antlers.
They're really good.
Yes. And take them, if you're gonna go to Kylie's website because she has information on this, and you have to explain it after, but if you start brushing their teeth at a young age, they don't mind it. So you can keep oral hygiene super easy and they enjoy it.
Again, depending on where your grooming is, where you're located. Some groomers even add the puppy the teeth cleaning and that kind of stuff. So that could also be something that you could start conditioning your dog to get used to. You should be able to go and check your dog's mouth out and you know, look up in the gums and all that, make sure everything's looking good.
And like we too have a thing on our website about like how to get your dog familiar. You know, you can start with your mouth, like your fingers, just get your dog used to the fingers, things like that, just to condition. And that's on the website that I can share with you guys. But yeah, so that is all our questions. We reached them. You guys asked such great questions. You guys were loaded with we had to like discuss beforehand because we're like, oh wow. We wanted to make sure. So thank you guys so much. Any other things, Kimmy or Alan, about anything that people should know, or do you think you covered a lot?
Well, I do see a couple more follow-up questions. So I guess I would recommend you guys email us, ask your questions. If we can send you just information, we'll send it to you, no problem. We'll direct you to our websites that have a ton of free resources. Absolutely. We have Instagram videos. Kylie has blogs. She's really good at that. Kylie has written information.
Kylie's just going to have to start doing our blogs too, man.
Right. I'll just do it. Yeah. It's okay.
She's all on that. Yeah.
No, thank you guys.
Yeah, so check us out. Yeah, definitely check us out. We're on Facebook, Instagram, you know, the whole nine. www.dogworldorder.com. You can hit the contact us and just ask your question. Our email is info@dogworldorder.com. Just go to the contact us form, and again, send us over any questions that you guys may have. We're primarily doing in-home consults. We're playing it safe. We're meeting either front yard, backyard, that kind of stuff. We're doing board and train, so we're doing some virtual consults, that kind of stuff. So that's the way we've been able to do it here in the COVID times. Obviously, in a perfect world, we'd all be together and doing that, doing this and getting it all, getting that information out there to people. But yeah, definitely check us out. Thank you again, Kylie, for putting this together. She is the one you guys need to thank because she kicked ass. Boom.
Thank you. And you can find Fire Hydrant at www.firehydrantpetsitting.com. It's also that for our Instagram and Facebook handle, Fire Hydrant Pet Sitting Co. or whatever. Sometimes it's different.
Look up Fire Hydrant Pet Sitting. You'll find her.
You'll find it. And then where can we
find it? It's pretty obvious. It's the red hydrant. Fire.
Yes.
You can find us bestbuddiespetcare.biz, and we would love to help answer any questions. If you need extra help, we're there to help you too. We can do Zoom. I have since COVID, learned to do Zoom training, and it's incredibly successful. I cannot believe the efforts, the progress that is made over this computer with dog training. And I will continue to do it forever because I can now reach people that aren't within 15 miles of me. So we could do it by Zoom. We can do it.
I mean, you help someone in Arizona, like you help someone in Oregon. You help people that live in NorCal that we wouldn't have been able to have access to before. It's been the one positive out of this COVID situation. It kind of forced everybody to kind of hop on this video world here, this video chat world. And so, yeah, well, I think we're all better for it.
Yeah. Thank you, attendees, for your time and your questions.
Thank you guys so much. I hope you all have a great evening. And thank you, Kimmy. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you, Kylie.
Boom.
All right, guys. Yeah. Talk to you later.
Good stuff, man. Hasta luego. Be good.